have Sanjay ji. Sanjay, of course, is also the founder for Agrotech Space. I want to understand from you what was your trigger into getting into this particular space. Of course, we all are aware of the fact that GDP की जहाँ तक बात है तो 15% contribution है agriculture से, और जहाँ तक involvement of manpower or woman power is concerned, it's almost 40%, right? It was 50%, it's come down to 40%. GDP has also come down to 15%. तो ये जो gap है, of course, technology has to build, you know, in terms of efficiencies, in terms of what we were discussing earlier as well. But आपका क्या trigger था इसमें? Was money one of the triggers for you to be in this space? Because of course there's money to be made, but unless there is passion involved, I don't think that money will go very far.
I would say first of all, I've been asked to fill up shoes of an expert who would have been very much fit for the space. But right now I think I'm anchoring a space so that a woman can be in the center. So that's nice. And yeah, the trigger was basically like Surendra has earlier mentioned. My passion was always events. It's been our field for the last 30 years. We wanted to build up something, some property which we can call our own. We wanted to create some property which, from a property I mean an event space, which we could, you know, say that okay, this is something which we built up on our own. And last year we did a huge event for FAO, which, as I said, Surinder was mentioning earlier.
FAO?
Yeah, Food and Agriculture Organization of the World. So FAO is a part of United Nations, and we mostly handle UN events. So when we were doing that FAO event, we saw that there was a huge build-up and a lot of interest in the agricultural economy and resilient agriculture. And that's the trigger. That's what we felt, that there is a lot of potential of bringing together the minds. You know, consumers and producers and markets, all of that is the money part. But we wanted to create a space where all the minds can come together. And that's the idea. And money, yes, you do anything good, money will follow. So yes, probably monetary gains will come at some time, but that's not the objective. Right now the objective is to build up a space. And that's why we chose the website name also as agrotech.space. So that this is a space where everybody can get together and interact and transact ideas and knowledge and all that. That's the idea.
So something that you all should take back home with what Sanjay has said, that while you can take that first step in doing good, money will follow. That is not your main criteria. Your main criteria is to be able to solve a problem for someone who's not being able to keep up with the technology which is happening. I think that is extremely important and what we are going to be focusing on today as well. Because unless that passion is there, and where I come from, I have that vantage point of looking at problems and solutions of how large organizations, small grassroots level workers, individuals like you all are creating those solutions from them. I represent SABERA. SABERA is been into existence for the past 8 years. What we do is we recognize people like you or Maharatna PSUs or multinationals or even grassroots level organizations who are doing good work for our country. As long as they're doing good work, putting us on the road to sustainable development, then SABERA amplifies their voices, connects them to the funder and the funded together, because as much as people want to be funded, the person who is the funder also is looking for people who are doing good work. So that is the essence. And हमने एक किक स्टार्ट तो कर दिए इसके बारे में, और ये सब दिग्गज लोग हैं जो कि टेक्नोलॉजी के अंदर they have already created forays, they've stepped into it. But मेन मुद्दा वही है जो हमने शुरुआत जिससे करी थी, कि जिसके लिए हम ये करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, 40% लोग जो कि हमारे मेट्रोज में नहीं हैं, जो कि हमारे हिंटरलैंड में है, जो कि हमारे रूरल विलेजेस के अंदर हैं, उनको एआई कैसे बेनिफिट कर सकता है। डेमोक्रेटाइज का मतलब यही है कि जो आप टेक्नोलॉजी आज क्रिएट कर रहे हैं, जो इन लोगों ने क्रिएट करी है, उनके लिए कैसे ये बेनिफिशियल हो। लेट्स स्टार्ट विद यू सचिन।
Yeah, sure. So I will give you one example how we are using tech in our business and how it is benefiting the farmers. So our forte is apples right now. So Apple is contributing to 70% of the business volumes which we are doing right now. So in apples, what we are doing, we are advising all kind of farmers, marginal farmers, mid-sized farmers, large farmers, on two areas. One is pre-harvest and then is post-harvest. In both the cases, farmers are getting a lot of benefits, lot of advantages, and whatever wastages used to happen in this particular sector, it is reducing drastically. So at a pre-harvest stage, what we do, we have a team of agronomists. They use certain tools in terms of technology for portable soil tests, which we do at a farm level, and leaf test also we do, which helps in farmer to understand what are the preventive measures they have to take in terms of any disease management in the farms or in the fruits or in the orchard. So that information usually we store on a platform which is a Belgium platform we are using Odo actually. So Odo is a tech platform from Belgium which stores all the information of the farmer and his vital information regarding the farm and the produce which he is having. So at the pre-harvest stage, we are able to advise him what kind of measures he should take to ensure that a quality fruit is produced. So once the quality fruit is produced and our team is able to assess that yes, this is worth taking, then the farmer brings that produce to our controlled atmosphere stores, which we have at one location right now. So at that store, we are using a very sophisticated equipment which we call camera-based optical grading system. So this tech we have bought from Netherlands, and what this technology does, once the apple passes through this line after a proper process of washing and drying, each apple is photographed 36 times in milliseconds. So 36 images of this apple is then assessed through a load cell, which actually calculates the weight of the apple apart from the apple features. So the main features which it captures is the color, based upon which we buy from the growers, and then it is the size, what diameter or shape the apple has, because we have certain criteria of buying. And then apart from shape and size, it also measures the weight. And apart from that, the most beneficial thing which I will touch upon is the defects. So usually at the season level, we publish certain rates and we write on the specification on what parameters we are going to buy. Then farmers brings our produce and that machine sorts out everything. But end of the season, what we do after buying, our machine has a software which is able to tell us that there is a lot which has come from Vishal example, and that lot has say 3 tons of apple. So I can actually tell that in 3 tons of apple, how many fruits were there? 20,000 fruits were there, example. And within 20,000 fruits, what are the problems I have seen? How many fruits have sunburns? How many fruits have rusting? How many fruits have some problem in terms of disease? That there are 12 different defects which we can take out from that software machine capability which that has and that report is shared with the farmer that yes, these are problems which you have in your fruits, and then during the next season you can improve upon that. So during this whole cycle, if you understand the modus operandi which we have right now, if you look at a ecosystem, farmer doesn't have any option apart from selling in mandis. 90% of the produce is still selling in mandis, where no inspection, no sorting grading. Farmer is bringing the produce, and whatever price is ongoing in the mandi, he gets it. There is no option that he can take that produce back from mandi, because cost of transport to bring it to mandi is very high. He can't take it to another place. He has no option except to sell. And if a farmer is coming say with 100 boxes, nobody is going to inspect 100 boxes. It is very difficult. If you say my quality is super premium, please give me some premium, you will not get, because there is no sorting, grading, inspection system. It's a physical system of auction or selling or buying which happens in mandi. So what we does is that farmer can come at our facility, he can see how we are sorting, grading. We divide the entire produce into A, B and C category. A gets a super premium price for him, which we are able to sell at premium in market. And B, he knows that these are the B kind of apples, and C, and even the worst kind of apples which has certain kind of issues in terms of apples, those are also bought by us, which we later on supply to food processing industry. So entire produce, not even a single apple is wasted. Even the apple which is rotted, it is taken by some guys who develop fertilizer out of it.
Right.
So we are able to take care of each and every apple or produce whatever is bought. So this is how technology is helping us, in this area. Now what happens at the end of season? end of the season, we have a huge database of information with us in terms of from where I got apple, from which area, which geography, what are the key pin codes, and what are the elevations from where I got the best apples. What was the bricks at different level, because we do a brick test also. Then we took the
Can
hardness
you tell
test
us what
also.
Brix test is?
Brix is basically a sugar and starch level we check in an apple in terms of its taste and in terms of because उसमें अगर brick level अच्छा होगा, then it will sustain for a longer time. That's how it works.
So we'll come to the data in a bit, but I want to get Nitin into this because you are purchasing directly from the farmer, right? And then probably giving it out to the industry. Whereas Nitin, what you are doing is making the farmer a stakeholder themselves and has a say in terms of the pricing, in terms of their own branding and marketing and all of that. So how are you contributing to the farmer now as opposed to this?
So Kisan Say is essentially helping farmers to get a better share of the consumer pie. मान लीजिए हम लोग कंज्यूमर से हमने 100 रुपए की चीज़ एक दुकान में जाके या अमेजोन में जाके या जेप्टो में जाके खरीदी, उस 100 रुपए में से किसान को सिर्फ 30 रुपया मिलता है ऑन एन एवरेज. कभी 25 होगा, कभी 30 होगा, कभी 35 होगा. अब किसान वो इंसान है, दैट मैन और दैट वुमन ऑन ग्राउंड, जो कि सबसे ज़्यादा मेहनत कर रहा है, सबसे ज़्यादा रिस्क ले रहा है. 90 दिन की, 100 दिन की, 120 दिन की फसल है, उसको ज़मीन तैयार करने से लेके फसल को बोने से लेके उसकी ठंड और गर्मी में देख रेख करने से लेके जानवर से बचाने से लेके पानी देने से लेके उसकी उपज को निकालने से लेके उसको मंडी में लेके बेचने और प्राइस रियलाइज करने तक का जो साइकिल है वो बड़ा लंबा होता है. मान लीजिए खरीफ की फसल है 100 दिन की, रबी की फसल है 100 दिन की, और प्लस और माइनस उसके लैंड प्रिपरेशन और पोस्ट हार्वेस्ट में आप 100 दिन और जोड़ लीजिए. तो 365 दिन में 300 दिन है ना, यानी कि ऑलमोस्ट नॉन स्टॉप जो काम कर रहे हैं, सबसे ज़्यादा रिस्क ले रहे हैं, सबसे ज़्यादा टाइम स्पेंड कर रहे हैं, सबसे ज़्यादा मेहनत कर रहे हैं. लेकिन कंज्यूमर के 100 रुपये के पाई में से उसको सिर्फ 30 रुपया मिल रहा है. तो मैं ये नहीं कह रहा कि वो 90 होना चाहिए या 80 होना चाहिए, बट 30 is too little for somebody who is taking the maximum amount of risk, spending the maximum amount of time. तो किसान से का ये ऑब्जेक्टिव है कि ये जो 30 रुपीज़ आउट ऑफ 100 वॉलेट शेयर है, इसको क्या हम 40 कर सकते हैं, 50 कर सकते हैं, 60 कर सकते हैं. सप्लाई चेन की इनएफिशिएंसीज है उनको रिड्यूस करें. जो एक्टिविटीज़ बिना किसी इंटरमीडिएरी की सपोर्ट के फार्मर कर सकते हैं जिससे कि उसका वैल्यू रियलाइजेशन 100 रुपये के कंज्यूमर पाई में से बढ़े, वो करें.
तो क्या इंटरमीडिएटरी सचिन है?
इंटरमीडिएट्स अलग अलग हो सकते हैं. कोई एग्रीगेटर है, कोई कमीशन एजेंट है, कोई प्रोसेसर है, कोई मार्केटियर है, अलग अलग हो सकते हैं. तो हम चाह रहे हैं कि नंबर ऑफ इंटरमीडिएरीज कम हो.
बट कोलैब भी हो सकता है.
कोलैब भी हो सकता है, कोलैब भी हो सकता है. लेकिन जो मेन जो सबसे ज़्यादा वैल्यू एडिशन है वो फार्मर का वो एक्टिविटी है, वैल्यू एडिशन इन टर्म्स ऑफ चेंजिंग द फॉर्म और नेचर ऑफ द प्रोडक्ट. कि अगर वो मान लीजिए वॉलनट्स को तोड़ा, तो वॉलनट को एज इट इज़ नहीं कि वो 50 किलो के बोरों में वो जाके किसी कमीशन एजेंट को दे दे या गांव के किसी व्यापारी को दे दे, क्योंकि उसमें उसको कुछ नहीं मिलने वाला. रियलाइजेशन डेल्टा इज नॉट गोइंग टू अर्न एनीथिंग. लेकिन अगर वही 100 किसान मिलके उसको प्रोड्यूस को एग्रीगेट करें, उसको ड्राई करें, उसको अच्छे से वैक्यूम पैक करें, उसको अच्छे से सुंदर से पैक में पैक करें और उसको फिर कंज्यूमर मार्केट में सेल करें, तो उनका जो रियलाइजेशन होगा वो ऑटोमेटिकली बढ़ जाएगा. और फिर उनको ये भी हेल्प दी जाएगी उस प्रोडक्ट को कैसे बेचना है. मार्केटिंग चैनल है, डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन चैनल है, और फिर टेक का जहाँ जहाँ रोल है ना, जैसे आपने बहुत सारी चीज़ें बताई कि फार्म लेवल में बहुत सारा रोल है फार्मिंग को और एफिशिएंट बनाने के लिए. या कल को हम मान लीजिए ऑनलाइन प्रोडक्ट को बेच रहे हैं, आप मान लीजिए एड्स चला रहे हैं या कैंपेन्स चला रहे हैं या सोशल मीडिया के थ्रू मार्केट कर रहे हैं, तो प्रेडिक्टिव एनालिसिस एआई को यूज़ करें कि मोस्ट एफिशिएंट तरीके से कम पैसे खर्च करके आप ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोगों तक कम समय में कैसे पहुँचेंगे. अपने प्रोडक्ट की जानकारी, प्रोडक्ट की खासियत, ब्रांड की जो स्टोरी है, प्रोडक्ट की जो स्टोरी है वो कैसे सुनाएंगे. तो ऐसे बहुत सारी चीज़ें आएंगी अक्रॉस दी सप्लाई चेन जहाँ टेक भी यूज़ होगा. और इवेंचुअली किसान को 100 रुपये में से कम 50 रुपया तो मिले, इफ़ नॉट मोर. एंड देन ऑफकोर्स जैसे जैसे एफिशिएंसी बढ़ेगी, जैसे जैसे टेक का और यूज़ होगा अक्रॉस दी सप्लाई चेन फॉर वेरियस यूज़ केसेस, हो सकता है वो 100 में से 60 भी कमा ले, 100 में से 70 भी कमा ले.
So I remember when we visit international destinations, तो देखते हैं हम कि हिंदुस्तान की प्रोड्यूस है, लेकिन हिंदुस्तान में ही नहीं मिलती. Yeah, this is the
Only
ground
one
reality
would
also.
have.
If I were to ask you how much of the percentage of your produce is consumed within the country?
So my 100% produce is consumed in India. It doesn't go
Wow,
out.
very good.
Because the reason is that India is short of apple production.
Right.
So we are importing, last year we imported 250 million worth of apples from Iran, Turkey, Poland, US, China, Chile, you name any country, we imported from there. So India has a huge shortage of fruits right now, which we are importing.
Yours?
तो अलग अलग है। अब कुछ प्रोडक्ट्स हैं जो हम एक्सपोर्ट भी करते हैं, कुछ प्रोडक्ट्स हैं जो हम इंपोर्ट भी। अब जैसे एक सिंपल प्रोडक्ट है कार्डमम, इलायची, हम चाय में या किसी भी चीज़ में रोज यूज़ करते हैं, एक दाना या दो दाना। लेकिन जो इंडिया की जो बेस्ट इलायची है वो होती है एक जगह जिसका नाम है इडुक्की, विच इज़ इन वायनाड इन केरला। तो जो अच्छी इलायची है वो हम एक्सपोर्ट कर देते हैं क्योंकि उसकी क्वालिटी, उसका जो फ्लेवर अरोमा जो है ज़्यादा अच्छा है। और हम ग्वाटेमाला नाम का एक देश है जहाँ से इंपोर्ट करते हैं, उसमें भी जो थर्ड ग्रेड है उसमें भी जिसमें ऑयल कुछ नहीं है, जिसके 4 दाने भी आप चाय में डालोगे तो आपको स्वाद नहीं आएगा। तो थोड़ी सी टॉपसी टर्वी सिचुएशन है। इंडियन कंज्यूमर को चीज़ नहीं मिल रही है हिंदुस्तान की, उसकी कदर करने वाला कहीं बाहर बैठा है जो शायद बेटर रियलाइजेशन दे रहा है, लेकिन फार्मर को भी नहीं मिल रहा है। वो किसी इंटरमीडिएरी के थ्रू, किसी ट्रेडर के थ्रू, किसी कंपनी के थ्रू बाहर जा रहा है। तो बाहर के ग्राहक ने भी कमा लिया, बीच के बिचौलिए ने भी कमा लिया, ना हम जो लोग यहाँ बैठे हिंदुस्तान में ना हमें खाने को मिला और ना जो किसान जिसने मेहनत करी उसका रियलाइजेशन मिला।
Let me get you, Vishal, into this conversation now, considering that you've been on both sides of the table. How is it that what you are doing in terms of AI, both in terms of the producer, the primary producer, as well as the consumer, how is it going to benefit?
So I'll take you through the journey.
Yeah.
Right? So सबसे बड़ी दुविधा जो एक किसान की होती है, let's consider Delhi NCR as the market. So वो क्या उगाए, right? वो मतलब मैं कुछ भी उगा दूँ या फिर मेरे साथ वाले ने पालक उगाया तो मैं ही पालक उगा देता हूँ. So I guess we are addressing that problem first, where we have a market trend dashboard. जहाँ पे we are taking inputs from hundreds of places, including inputs like ये seasonal है, ये what is government policy, और ये इस टाइप पे उगाया, what is the market trend, what is the market demand in Gurgaon, let's say Delhi, or there are the hot area. So उसके ऊपर let's say what comes out as top 3 recommendation from our platform, let's say broccoli. So एक किसान ने broccoli उगाई और ये let's say parsley उगाया. So जो पालक उगा के एक किसान 1 एकड़ में उगाता, so वो broccoli उगा के possibly 5 times ज़्यादा कमाएगा. That's number 1.
So the cash crop kind of a thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Depends on depending on the data that we have gathered from around the area where the addressable market for a farmer is. Right? That's number 1. Now number 2. Now moving on. Now अब उसने उगा तो लिया, and can tech help? Yeah, of course tech can help. Now I want you to visualize. एक ड्रोन उड़ता है, it captures as he mentioned, Sachin mentioned that 1 milliseconds में hundreds of photographs. So similar technology, hundreds of photographs खींचता है, over acres of area to find out कि human नहीं देख सकते, ये plant में nitrogen की कमी है. Now a small thing like this can make a plant crisp, like आपका पालक crisp हो सकता है बहुत ज़्यादा या फिर नहीं हो सकता. You can't detect that unless it's on your plate or it's on the shelf, right? So then AI would ask कि आपको एक corrective action लेना है और वो आपको recommend करता है. So that platform that recommendation comes from AI. So वो हो गया. So once that is done, so then the entire let's say उसके बाद you have IoT. Now IoT comes into picture with AI, जहाँ पे आपका soil का क्या health है, आपको soil में क्या nutrient डालना है. So all those recommendations come from AI. So all this has a lot of data in the background. So we'll come to that so but this is the tech that can be helpful for farmer to increasing yield, for better accessibility to the market, and taking right calls so that he earns more per acre than otherwise.
So while we've understood from all of you three that you're utilizing AI technology, my core question still remains the same. How is this accessible to a guy who has a small farmland? How can he or she benefit from it? Because I know you guys are all working in silos, and maybe Agrotech Space can probably contribute into these collabs which can happen and which can integrate for the benefit of that small farmer.
So exactly, you're right in saying that. Our idea to bring all of this together and create, help create solutions which reach the ground level. So Vishal is doing something which is going to help them know what to grow, where, when, how to protect it. Sachin will help them, sort it out for them, quality-wise and everything. But all of this knowledge to travel to them, that's where we come in, that we will be organizing more and more events, and we'll be kind of showcasing all of this technologies, upcoming trends through our website and through our events. That's where
एंड द टच एंड फील इट्स जरूरी नहीं है कि टेक्नोलॉजी मतलब बहुत डिफिकल्ट होगा अंडरस्टैंड करने के लिए. सिंपल सॉल्यूशंस, फॉर एग्जांपल जैसे आप सॉइल टेस्टिंग किट का बोल रहे थे, बट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग इज बिहेवियरल चेंज लेके आना, उनको एक्सेसिबिलिटी होना उस टाइप की किट का, आपका पीएच बैलेंस क्या है, सिंपल थिंग्स लाइक दैट. व्हाइल आप एप्पल्स कर रहे हैं बहुत टाइम से, हो सकता है कि उसका पीएच बैलेंस अब इतने सालों से न्यूट्रिएंट उसका अप एंड डाउन हो गया. मे बी टैंजरीन प्रोडक्शन क्योंकि एसिडिक हो गया है सॉइल, तो टैंजरीन वो करें, या संतरा उगाएं तो उनको वो बेनिफिशियल रहेगा. तो सिंपल इंटरवेंशंस लाइक दिस आई थिंक कैन
if I can actually add on to what you just mentioned. देखिए, I mean, आज की डेट में फार्मर, अगर आप डेटा पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से देखें, वो उसके पास इतना डेटा हो सकता है. If we can have let's say data cooperatives, where farmer owns, where farmer owns that data, that will give them a lot of leverage. In the sense, I'll tell you, I mean, whatever AI model I create, I need data to train that AI. Where is that data going to come from?
Correct.
That data is going to come from the farmers. So, we need to, if we really truly want to democratize this entire thing, data cooperatives has to come, and farmer needs to own that data, and then we need to take this at vernacular level, local, regional
Correct.
level, for them to really reap the benefits.
Absolutely.
So that's the way forward. That's how I look at it.
No, very pertinent point that you've put across, because thanks to SABERA, I've had this exposure to, say suppose we're talking about Assam, ठीक है, हर साल ब्रह्मपुत्र फ्लड होती है, हर साल कोस्टल रीजन से वहाँ से फिशरमैन, प्राइमरी प्रोड्यूसर्स को हटा दिया जाता है हर साल, क्योंकि उनकी लाइवलीहुड उधर से ही जुड़ी हुई है, फिर वापस आके सेटल होते हैं वही. एंड दिस इज अ साइकिल दैट हैज बीन रिपीटिंग फॉर सो मेनी इयर्स. ठीक है, उसके बाद आप उड़ीसा चले जाएं, वहाँ पर एक लैंग्वेज प्रॉब्लम है, आप पुणे चले जाएं. We are all talking about maximizing the output in terms of maybe, say for example, kale can give them more money or broccoli can give them more money as opposed to spinach. But what if वो फसल उस because we're dependent on climate, right? And climate change जो हो रहा है आज की डेट में, जो आपके पुश्तों ने देखा था सचिन, वो क्लाइमेट अब नहीं है. यू कांट बी डिपेंडेंट ऑन कि हाँ कि वो अलग हो गया. लेकिन क्या वो स्मॉल फार्मर वो समझता है अपनी सस्टेनेबिलिटी के लिए क्या वो प्रोड्यूस कर रहा है? बिकॉज सिंपल इंटरवेंशन लाइक कि ठीक है आप कैश क्रॉप ग्रो कीजिए, लेकिन अपनी फैमिली को सर्वाइव करने के लिए एटलीस्ट यू हैव फूड, एंड ऑल ऑफ दिस डेटा. I come from the perspective that while large organizations have access to all of this data and can use it for their own benefits, but when it comes to smaller land holding owners, or how can we protect their interest in this?
Protecting small farmers?
Yes.
तो
क्योंकि data is potent right now, right? और जिसके हाथ में वो data है, he or she is the king, right? And most often that data will be with the large.
It's extremely important.
Yeah, and this is what Vishal is talking about, data cooperatives. लेकिन
तो बहुत सारी एफर्ट्स में इसमें गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से, प्राइवेट सेक्टर की तरफ से, एंड डेटा एज यू राइटली से इज अ वेरी कंटेंशियस इशू. व्हाट टू शेयर, व्हाट नॉट टू शेयर, हाउ टू शेयर, हाउ नॉट टू शेयर, कौन उसका यूज़ करेगा, मिसयूज़ करेगा, चेक्स बैलेंसेस कंट्रोल्स क्या होंगे. डेमोक्रेटाइज करना है, लेकिन एट द सेम टाइम सेंसिटिविटीज़ ऑफ डेटा प्राइवेसी को भी ध्यान में रखना है. और इंडिया में काफ़ी एफर्ट पिछले 3-4 साल से हुए हैं, बट अनफॉर्चुनेटली मोस्ट ऑफ दोज एफर्ट्स हैव फेल्ड. उसको प्रॉपर एक फ्रेमवर्क में कैसे लाया जाए ताकि उसको ढंग से मोनेटाइज किया जाए, प्राइमरीली बिकॉज बहुत अनसर्टेनिटी और बहुत एंग्जाइटी है अराउंड हाउ दैट डेटा इज गोइंग टू बी मिसयूज्ड. तो इस तरह के डिस्कशंस में और इस तरह के फोरम्स में बहुत बार इन चीज़ों की बात हुई है, कुछ एफर्ट्स ऑन ग्राउंड भी हुए हैं, बट लार्जली वी हैव फेल्ड। अब शायद हमें कुछ ग्लोबल एक्सपीरियंसेस से सीखना होगा कि उन्होंने कैसे इंश्योर किया कि डेटा प्राइवेसी भी प्रोटेक्ट हुई, एट द सेम टाइम ओपन फ्रेमवर्क में किस तरीके से डेटा को यूज़ भी किया गया फॉर द बेनिफिट ऑफ फार्मर्स, एट द सेम टाइम उनका कोई नुकसान भी नहीं हुआ to indiscriminate use of those data sets.
So, if you look at a present landscape right now, so when we talk about tech and data as of now, it is primarily with government. Very less private institutions have data right now. So, see, I am 45 years plus. The tech part which I have seen in agriculture is remote sensing, satellite से data आता था, बारिश कब होगी, monsoon कब आएगा. That's it. In last 40 years. Now in 5 years we have started evolving in terms of technology. उसके बाद tractors आए, spray machines आए 70s 80s के बाद. But beyond that we have not moved yet. Now in last 5 years we have seen little traction in terms of data points being generated at a field level, which is your crop yields, soil data, your leaf test के data आने शुरू हो गए हैं. Then crop का कितना output आ रहा है per acre, yields कितनी आ रही है हमारी, that data is being slowly generated, but it is all in silos right now. Government is putting a lot of efforts. They are trying to digitize the land records in one way. That exercise has started across the state. So this is the first step. They are going to digitize the all land, irrespective of agriculture, non-agriculture. So that landscape will be available after this digitization is complete. That how much land I have for rabi, how much is for vegetables, how much is horticulture. So that landscape will be available in next few years to us. And then lot of companies which are into agriculture input space, which are selling seeds, pesticides, insecticides, they also have certain database with them because they are catering to this large farmer market. They know ki kitna area, hectares under development, and some government departments also have this data. Then finally on the market linkages side, kahan kya bik raha hai, EPMCs has certain data with them, and ENAM is one of the institution which government has formed to bring digitization in.
ENAM?
Yeah, ENAM. ENAM.
Full form of ENAM?
It is basically a
Okay.
online platform
Electronic
for.
National Agriculture Market.
Yes. So it is a platform which government has created. They want to bring all APMCs on this platform so that everybody knows transparently what is the price of the mandi today and how the
Jargons
product
like
is moving here
APMC
and
are
there.
above me. What is APMC?
Agri Produce Marketing Committee.
So it's
यानी कि मंडी.
mandi basically. I mean, say tell in a very crude language. So as Nitin said, all the data is in silos right now, and there is no concrete effort or legislation which has been put in place to ensure that data is safe. Internationally, I will tell you how companies are using it. We imported 10,000 plants from Italy of apples. Those are high yield varieties, and I asked them what is so special in that, why it is so expensive. They told me that there is a 15 to 20 years of data which has gone into producing these plants, because they have done a lot of research on that in terms of basically how disease resistant it can be made, how intense heat it can measure, how less water it can take, and how the fruit yield can be better in terms of quality. All those research has gone into this based upon the data of the demographics, and then after research they have produced that plant which is able to give yield in 3 years as compared to the yields after 7 years which we get in India.
And patented the technology.
Yeah, it is patented. Plants are even patented.
So that's where my skepticism comes in, because that's historically we've seen it's not benefited the ground. I mean, I'm talking about the bad word Monsanto, what happened with genetically modified seeds, and how it affected the Vidarbha farmers and the spate of suicides that happened in Maharashtra. Because while initial sell to them was of course very large yield, XYZ and all of that, but the next year if the rains failed, their crop didn't self-propagate itself, they have to buy the fresh seed because it's patented technology XYZ. So how am I benefiting the guy?
So Suparna, what has happened, just sorry to intervene. So Suparna, what has happened? These cases have happened with those particular companies where products have come without proper testing, pilots and everything. Maybe in some hush-hush they have taken out. But in today's world, if we don't resort to these kind of technologies, we will not be able to feed a 1.40 billion population in India. It's very, very difficult. If we say I will go organic, I will not do anything else. So it will be very difficult. So we have to resort to high yield seeds, high yield plants. Then only production will increase and we will be able to match the international standards.
Yeah, I'm not
of
doubting
yield
that at
production.
all.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm talking about, like, initially we started on data and how it can benefit only a segment of people who can have access to that data. How does it affect the most marginalized? I think
Vishal,
yeah.
So I'm not surprised if the government hasn't shared or So I'll tell you, I mean, AI is fascinating, but you can actually create biasness.
Correct.
It can only benefit big corporates.
Correct.
Right. So how do we really break that down and which helps the poor farmer or marginalized farmer?
And which is like 40%,
Correct,
right?
correct. So that's where government has to kick in, and as I said, you need to create data cooperatives, who would use open source technology to harness their data and benefit the let's say a specific region from the data. So that's how you have to decentralize this entire process rather than running it from one particular place. So that's the real model that should emerge and which would really benefit a low, because conditions vary once you go 50-100 kilometers across. So data decentralization has to happen. Open source model has to come into play, and these data cooperatives should come really use and harness that data, and then it should integrate to the all the e-mandis or markets, which further benefits in optimizing the rate that the local farmers get.
Can the data be tokenized?
Yes, it can be. I mean, so but that doesn't help. I mean, tokenization is
So
possible.
yeah, what do you exactly mean by tokenization of the
So
data?
you basically create small packets of data, let's say, and it's all protected by blockchain
Yes.
encryption. And because with blockchain, it's a common ledger based technology, so with blockchain you are able to identify who is the real owner of this data. So when he talked about data ownership, if entire data is tokenized, we know that okay, this particular set of data belongs to such and such organizations of farmers or such a particular farmer.
It's a fascinating end game. I mean, but to reach there, we
It's
first
a
have to
promise.
create that data, right? So, but yeah, I mean, that's the ultimate thing if we can do that. But to be honest, we have to go through a number of steps before we reach there. I think the first rudimentary or first step should be initiated by the government by encouraging these data cooperatives to come in, just like other kinds of cooperatives that we have come in, and then pool and harness more and bring in efficiency in the system and the entire value chain.
So 2 points come to me immediately. One, of course, we're talking about the efficiency. AI and efficiency seem to go hand in hand, which also necessarily means that when there is a large pool of people working on something, it'll reduce that manpower. And what will happen to reskilling, upskilling them if they are not involved in what their primary source of income has been? Do you think that can be also a loss of?
So I mean, we should not propagate AI replacing traditional methods. AI should be augmenting the current traditional practices rather than replacing it.
Nitin, I want you to comment on this.
Sorry, the question once again. How do you ensure that data
See, let's look at the elephant in the room. The world over, we're saying that AI may replace the jobs. We were talking about how consultancies may be replaced by AI. Now, when we have such a large workforce wherein humans are involved, and 40% of our population, with AI coming in and with Vishal saying that it can augment the traditional practices, do you see that a lot of farmers losing out on their primary revenues?
So the Indian farm economy is different from the Western world because small farm sizes, largely labor-intensive work, less levels of mechanization as of today versus what are the global standards.
But we're looking to reach there, right? That's what it is.
वो जो मॉडल हम बात कर रहे हैं कि AI will be used in a big way for everything and anything across the supply chain, right from land preparation to farming to post harvest, वो small farm model में नहीं हो पाएगा. वो typically होता है large farm models में, especially on the upstream side यानी हम farming की बात
So
कर
you
रहे हैं।
agreeing with Vishal कि जो traditional methods हैं वो continue रहेंगे?
उसमें incremental improvements होंगे on a particular technology, particular way of sowing, particular way of harvesting, particular technology to through sensors more effectively improve the productivity or bringing in insurance coverage, this that वो सारी चीजें होंगी।
Financial inclusion.
Financial inclusion है, और banks or NBFCs using satellite based data to better monitor the crop progress, which helps to build a more robust actuarial science based repository of data, which incentivizes more insurance companies to insure farmland and farmers and protect them from adversity, etc. वो सब तो होगा, but essentially 90% काम तो छोटे farms हैं, small farm sizes हैं, large number of farmers हैं, 90% of activities तो वही चलती ही रहेंगी जैसे चल रही हैं, वो तो impact नहीं
Going
होगा।
back to my example of the Brahmaputra flooding every year, now I'm told that thanks to technology, thanks to satellite monitoring, etc., they are being informed in advance कि भाई flooding
Correct.
होगी,
Correct.
आपको हाईलैंड में जाके बसना है, अपने कैटल को अपना जो भी वो है पूरा जाके आप वहाँ पर बसिए, स्टेट्स के ऊपर रहिए, जब वो वापस सेटल डाउन हो जाएगी then you can come back to do. So
Correct.
something like this. Now the need gap that arises is for that intervention to happen with them. You understand? Unless, because we're relying completely on the government. कि गवर्नमेंट करेगा, गवर्नमेंट करेगी, पॉलिसी चेंज लेके आएंगे और वो करेंगे, but as private players, are there any ways in which you're trying to make this simpler and easier and access to the whole technology system to that person rooted on
तो
the
आप
ground?
यही वाला जो यूज केस बता रहे हैं, इसमें ऑलरेडी गवर्नमेंट ने काफ़ी सारी 5-7-8 टेक कंपनीज हैं, उनके साथ ऑलरेडी पायलट्स करे हैं इन स्पेसिफिक जोग्राफीज फॉर बेटर लिवरेजिंग व्हाट विशाल वाज रेफरिंग टू एज ओपन सोर्स एंड पब्लिक डोमेन डेटा प्रोटेक्टेड थ्रू ब्लॉकचेन एंड अदर टेक्नोलॉजीज, जिससे कि उनका नॉलेज सुधर सके एडवर्सिटीज के अगेंस्ट, उनका जो क्लस्टर लेवल, फार्म लेवल मॉनिटरिंग है वो बेटर हो सके, और प्राइवेट सेक्टर की जो एक्सपर्टीज़ है डेटा को एनालाइज करना, सैटेलाइट हो सकता है सरकारी होगा, सैटेलाइट का डेटा हो सकता है सरकारी होगा, तो उसको अच्छे से एनालाइज करना, लीवरेज करना फॉर यूज केस which helps to protect the farmers against adversities and coming up with innovative products, insurance products which protect them better. वो वाले एफर्ट्स सारे ऑलरेडी चालू हैं और बहुत सारी कंपनीज हैं जो इसमें काम कर रही हैं।
So you're at the cusp, right?
Yes.
You're not dependent so much on the government, right? As a private player, are you also doing things
Yes.
to reach out?
Yes. So what is happening? One thing is very clear that farmer, as Nitin said, don't have any access to tech right now. Only 2% farmers of India will have a tech.
Only 2%
So-
farmers have access to tech in
So
a
there
very
is no
important
tech
thing.
as of now. Tech के नाम पे उनके पास sprayers होंगे, tractor होगा और satellite.
Now we're coming to the real deal.
Okay. So the real deal is that
Can't we
farmer
consider
doesn't have any
smartphones as tech?
So smartphone doesn't give much of tech, as of now.
No,
So-
I mean, I was last month interviewing Nitin, and I was raising the same question. Ki, like, most of the farmers have like feature phones,
So-
but he contradicted me in the saying like we are underestimating the Indian farmer. They are more, I mean, they are tech savvy.
Yes,
That
we
way,
are gathering
smartphones.
information on Facebook, Insta, listening to videos. That is not a tech.
Right.
So for me, tech is something which can help him out. Like I
Correct.
will give you one example. So we recently worked with one company from Bangalore called Energetica. So what they do, they have some rights of Russian satellites, and they work on that data and give you the carbon of that particular area. If you map that field of a particular farmer, geotag that farmer in their application which they have. So carbon is something very important for any farmer to know what is the carbon content in his soil. So when you are bringing these kind of things to a doorstep of a farmer, he actually feels that yes, I got something. So recently we imported a portable soil testing kit which give instant results right at a stage. It is from Australian company called Bristol Crop. So that kit is able to give 20 parameters of soil in just 5 minutes.
But do you charge them something for doing
No,
this?
now right now we are not charging anything. It is a part of our initiative to develop a bridge relationship with farmers right now. But somewhere point of the line, once we scale up, it has to be monetized. You know, right now we are monetizing it in terms of creating a relationship with farmer, getting him to a stage where he can give us a quality food. But end of the day, technology has to move down to a farmer end. Farmer will not be able to buy out some thing where he can, he doesn't have a bandwidth, that financial bandwidth to buy a tank. Then there are small applications which are coming on mobile, which do analysis, leaf analysis. करते हैं आपको लिए अपना phone, it is on my phone also. You open up, it will give you basic parameters of some problem in a plant. How much reliable it is, I'm not sure. So technology has to be brought to a farmer doorstep. Then only it will work. Otherwise, if you think that okay, tomorrow farmers will buy this out, that will be large scale farmers which has that appetite of buying something out. Rest people like us, government have to move closer to farmer, tell them this is how it has to be done, this is how technology will be, in pre-harvest, post-harvest, various stages you can use it. That's how it will work.
So what I'm taking from this panel essentially is that while traditional farming techniques will continue, are continuing, and in our country will continue, they will be augmented by technology, artificial intelligence, and there is no scare of people losing their jobs or everybody there could be other factors for which people are giving up farming, I don't know about that. But per se, this is to increase the efficiency, increase the output, in both from a government perspective as well as a private player's perspective, a collab in empowering the ground personnel, because the kind of wisdom that each person has in the specific land that they belong to, I think AI, unless it's given that kind of input of wisdom, will not be able to function at its optimum level, right?
So you recall Vishal had earlier mentioned something about agentics.
Yeah.
So now what we're talking about, that's the true democratization which will happen if some specific tools, AI tools come up, which a farmer can just talk to and get the wisdom. And that wisdom for the AI will come through the data.
Super.
So this
Thank
is how
you
the
all.
link
Thank
is.
you all so much. Thank you for this very enlightening discussion for someone like me, who I say is completely technologically
I mean,
challenged.
if they have any questions.
Any questions you guys have that you can, probably take inputs from these guys, which can help you develop what you're trying to do? Yes, please. Request you to share your name also.
Myself, Manav Sagar. I'm doing my MCA from INNOFarms college. Okay, so I have a question like farmers जो हैं हमको उनसे connect करना है basically.
Correct.
अब वो बिल्कुल ground level पे है.
जी.
As a business और as a problem solver. So हम उनसे connect कैसे करें ground level पे? Because कोई भी reliable बंदे पे ही वो trust कर पाएंगे.
जी.
So how can we connect to the farmers to promote our product, to promote our solution?
देखिए, सबसे पहले तो अगर आप अपना प्रोडक्ट प्रमोट करने जा रहे हैं तो कोई भी आपको कनेक्ट नहीं करेगा. अगर आप उनकी प्रॉब्लम, कोई लाइफ की सोल्यूशन ऑफर करने जा रहे हैं तो वो ऑटोमेटिकली आपकी तरफ ग्रेविटेट करेंगे. इज माय बेसिक.
In fact, that's a wonderful possible idea. जैसे Facebook बना हुआ है, ऐसे तुम फार्मर का Facebook बनाओ ना.
So I will tell you how to approach, because we have also been dealing with all the farmers. So आपको ना जो मैम ने बताया, that is the key thing which you have to see. If you are going with some study and research कि मैंने ये प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व करना है, किसान की ये प्रॉब्लम है, अगर आप वो थोड़ा स्टडी रिसर्च करके जाओगे किसान के पास कि सर आपकी ये प्रॉब्लम थी, मैं ये सॉल्व करने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ, he will be giving you everything, whatever he has, all the knowledge he will disseminate to you, everything.
Nitin also will resonate with this very much. He needs.
Because किसान को प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करने वाला आदमी चाहिए.
तो आपका क्वेश्चन उल्टा हो सकता है कि मैं
ऐसा कोई aggregate
हिंदुस्तान के किसानों की
platform
प्रॉब्लम
देखने
को सॉल्व करने जा रहा हूँ और यूज केस समझने के लिए मुझे पहले जाना है, तो मैं कैसे जाऊँ, फिर मैं सोल्यूशन बनाऊंगा, फिर सोल्यूशन बेचने जाऊंगा.
In fact, like last month, Nitin told me कि that India की प्रॉब्लम सबसे बड़ी ये है कि स्टार्टअप इकोसिस्टम की, कि हम सोल्यूशन ले आते हैं, प्रॉब्लम बाद में ढूंढते हैं उसके लिए.
तो मैं एक बहुत टेंजेंशियल एक एग्जांपल देती हूँ आपको. आपको पता है महाराष्ट्र में a lot of there's a lot of tribal population there that is still inside jungles literally. तो access to, आप technology तो छोड़ो, कुछ भी access to नहीं है. And I had interacted with Dr. Prakash Amte, who is Baba Amte's son, and he's dedicated. He's an MBBS doctor, and he's been staying there for over 20-30. He and his wife Meenakshi have been staying there for 30 years. Initially बहुत ज़्यादा apprehension था कि कौन डॉक्टर है, हमारे तो अपने ट्राइबल वो होते हैं जो हमारा झाड़ फूक करके ठीक कर देते हैं and all of that, तो हम क्यों इन लोगों को करें. बट वो वहाँ पर रह के ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम धीरे धीरे करके एक बंदा आया, मे बी उसको एक सोल्यूशन मिला, वो ठीक होके वापस घर गया, उसने बोला 4 लोगों को, उनको पता चला, तो एक ट्रस्ट और एक फेथ बिल्ड हो जाता है when they know that you've come to serve them rather than exploiting them, or because all the time there's always exploitation, and especially in the capitalism. But एक important बात aspect ये भी है, now capitalism cannot be viewed as a bad word because you're all into the startup, but if there can be impact capitalism in terms of the fact कि हम philanthropy पे बिल्कुल depend ना करके आप एक ऐसा मॉडल क्रिएट कर रहे हैं which is a win-win situation in terms of creating an impact and making money out of that. So I mean that's the new
And to add what Suparna is saying, अगर आप सचमुच में किसी solution के ऊपर काम कर रहे हो which is focused on farming, I will highly recommend you that you stay with farmers, go there, stay with their house, उनके साथ रहो, उनकी family की problem भी समझो, उनके क्या resources हैं. Until as you don't do that, you are not connecting to the problem, you know. You have to connect it.
correct.
Until as you don't connect with the farmer and his issues, core issue, वो तभी आएगा जब उनके साथ खाओगे, पियोगे, सोओगे, रहोगे, उनके साथ टाइम बिताओगे. That is the only way to understand the problem to the core. That's what me and Nitin also must have
और
done.
अपना जब आप प्रोडक्ट पिच करने जाओगे किसी को ना, तो वो यही देखेंगे कि आपका क्या
Yeah,
पेन पॉइंट था.
exactly.
अगर आपका पेन पॉइंट उसके साथ मैच कर रहा है, then you know the pulse of what the problem is. Any other questions?
Yeah.
Also. So in Himachal, there is a farming that is terrace farming, mostly
Yeah.
done by the people
Yes.
because of the mountain or hilly region. So how you basically tackle with the last mile transportation? Because road are not available throughout the like farm fields, and so how you tackle that problem? What kind of
Yeah.
But terrace farming में तो उतना produce ही नहीं करेगा कि उसको बाहर
He
भेजना
is,
पड़ेगा.
to some extent he's right. So what is happening? The geography of Himachal is that you don't have a flatlands there, unlike Kashmir. So हमारे वो terraces ही हैं. But the best part is that every terrace land we have a link roads. We call it the panchayat road. Link roads जिनको हम बोलते हैं. They are developed by JCBs. So the only challenge there is that when we have to take a produce out from there, it doesn't come in large trucks. It comes in Mahindra pickups, which is say 2-ton pass or 3-ton pass. So what we do whenever we have to take produce from farm level, which we pick actually, we do a lot of business at farm level also. So we have to deploy a large fleet of inventory of small vehicles because they only can reach there. Larger vehicles can't reach there. So what we try as a part of strategy is that we try to bring collection center near to the farms so that the transit time of bringing that produce from those terraces, lands and patches or catchment area is less. So if you today see our apple store which we have built in, it's at a place called Sanch. उसके 50 किलोमीटर के पेरिफेरी में there is millions of tons of apple which is produced. So we have gone in between the catchment area rather than putting up a store in Sonipat which is near to my consumers. I am not putting here. I have gone inside the catchment. Similarly, if you look at our vegetable sourcing center, it is also in a place where lot of vegetables are grown. So the strategy is to get into the catchment area rather than taking out the products from there. So the best benefit which we get out from this strategy is that you are closely working with farmers, not only in buying but also advising them that how to cut their losses, how to produce the quality, and advising them continuously through our teams which are on ground.
Super.
So we come back to the circle, like
Yeah.
where the question I raised earlier is that can drones solve that problem?
Yeah, so very interesting question. Because we are doing pilots right now, and any one of you, if you are available next month, I would be glad to invite you for those pilots also. We are doing 3 pilots with drone right now, which is starting next month. 1 pilot we have already completed. 1 pilot we are doing for basically spray, which is for vegetables, and 1 for apple. So these drones are made by a company based out of Chennai. These are specially designed drones which can carry 150 liters of oil because large area को आपने spray करना है. So they can do it. They one demonstration they have already done it. We are satisfied with the results and everything. Second, very interesting thing which we are doing with the same company is crop assessment. So they have a software which is in test phase right now where they will do yield calculations. So it will have a camera in a drone, which will fly over the orchards, and it will count the number of fruits.
Wow.
Yeah, and
So,
that's what we do.
basically, it will not be 100% correct, but it will give some estimate to farmer and companies like us that 90% of the calculations which this has given, it is right.
Good morning, my name is Aisha Adhikari, and I would like to ask that you talked about that data-driven corporates and need to decentralize. I want to ask that in our model that we create, we also need a large amount of data, but we are not able to collect the data. We are not finding many sources for many of the data. How would you approach this problem? That any use cases for how to collect the data, how to make it more efficient?
Any use cases for how to collect the data?
So not at the moment, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it needs a lot of education to farmers, so they can produce immense amount of data. For example, if we talk about any vegetable that they're producing, so you need to have a drone hovering around and taking photographs in a specific let's say day, every day for next the entire cycle of that crop. So once you repeat this for several cycles, you would have something concrete which you can actually feed to your AI, so that it gives you the right kind of let's say implications which can help the farmer. So that's the kind of data that I'm talking about. You don't have that data, but with these data cooperates, you can create all these data with a methodology which can feed into the system and help the farmer ultimately.
Yeah.
My name is Ishita, and my question is that most of the farmers, which are totally from the farming background, they don't have their own cell phones, and they don't know about the tech. And most of our solutions are AI driven. So how can we access them our solution?
Core question what we started out.
So I agree with you that some part of the farming community doesn't have access to these tools, smartphones or anything applications. So the best way to do is that like what we are doing right now. So the farm representative, the agronomy guy which we have on board, they have tablets in hand. Always. That's a mandatory which we have made for them. So whenever they are going on a visit, they are able to demonstrate whatever inputs they want to give to farmer on their tablets. Like we do leaf scans through certain applications, we tell them this is the problem. We do soil tests and tell them that this is the results. It has to be demonstrated, although he may not be reading English, but he understands the basic parameters. I will give one crude example how we are addressing issues. It relates to what you have asked. So there was one farmer who has a continuous problem of less yield in his farm. He's a marginal farmer, small farmer. And a lot of experts came, everything done, but no results came out. Then one of our agronomists visited there. The problem was with his pH. That only came through that small test which we are doing right now. Then we explained to them that this is the issue. और उसका solution भी बहुत simple था, चूना डालना पड़ता है pH को खत्म करने के लिए. So he understand कि चूना क्या होता है, क्या utility है इसकी. So these are the kind of tools which will be used in 5 years, 7 years, 10 years of the time, till the time farmers start installing tools like Fasal. So there is a company based out of Bombay and Delhi who basically install a weather station in your farm that is IoT based. Data is generated automatically regarding soil, weather, climate, a lot of parameters. But every farmer can't spend 15,000, 20,000 bucks on that application. So marginal farmer will not even think in dreams of investing in such thing. So that's where community-led development programs, government-initiated cluster programs, private entrepreneurs like us who will develop that infrastructure where marginal farmers can be a part of this story. That's how it will work.
So most important how what the solutions are coming out. Of course, the pain points you have to identify, but the solutions that you're creating, you must also take into account how you're going to be interacting, that interface with the most marginalized. So you have to account for that when you're presenting in your solutions also today. Okay? I think we'll wrap it up.
How often the field visits are done?
See, it is all through the year, ma'am, continuous, because then only you will get a quality produce. If I lose that connection in between, farmer may miss anything because I am catering to very specific market which requires certain quality. So end of the day, if I say कि नहीं भैया सामान ढंग का नहीं है, I will not buy it, then that relationship doesn't work. So it's continuous. We have 5 agronomists on.
My name is Shoya Chatar.
Yeah.
Farmer level, I think the reluctancy in the farmers feeling to getting something changed is the biggest problem. why would he adopt something? And as a startup or an idea we are pitching to the farmer, what should we keep in our mind that we have to just put in, and the at the end everybody wants to grow and earn profit. So isn't it a very much input generating field and profit is much later?
Yeah, so I will answer this. First of all, you have to take out the farmer from your mind. Don't talk about marginal farmer, high-end farmer. You have to address the problem first. You have to identify the issue and problem, what you are trying to address. And then you can talk about कि farmer ले पाएगा, नहीं ले पाएगा, how to make it economical, how to make it viable for any farmer. First of all, you have to address the issue.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. Then
The horse has to pull the cart, not the other way around.
Then other way around you can work out. Then you can see how to make it viable, how to scale it up so that it becomes viable for all the farmers. That's how you have to work about.
Do we have a definitive answer to the question like can AI democratize technology for farmers in a yes or no from all the panelists?
We'll start from you.
Okay. He said yes or no. No, I would say yes.
Yes.
AI can democratize. It does need to build up, like Vishal has pointed out, data. First, we need to
Corporatize the data.
and first the data itself has to be democratized. Then only the solutions will become available to the farmer, and that's when the true democratization will happen.
Yes.
So caveat with a yes, there has to be an interface, there has to be a more holistic approach to the whole thing, wherein we're not just looking at making money, but also looking at serving who this data is being collected for.
Yes, in a big way. As I said, I mean, tech hasn't even touched, real farmers or marginalized farmers, not even touched. So, and that's where a lot of initiative has to be taken by the government, as you mentioned as well. So, wherein public-private partnership has to come into fore. A lot of state government, initiatives as well, along with private tech companies, which further push, towards the solution. That's how it has to be done. And once it's done, once the model is established, there'll be a lot of outputs coming.
Yes, I agree with this narrative which you are trying to build in here. But eventually, data will be only generated once tech reaches the people, the farmer. So that is where a lot of effort is going to come. Who is going to give that part to a farmer? Whether he's going to buy himself or it's going to be so viable or so economical that he has an incentive to buy it. So that is something very important because data has to be generated through some tool. Who is going to bring that? So as a company also we are not innovating anything. We are bringing the best of the technologies from worldwide and using it. Why to reinvent a wheel? Somebody is doing it, So that's what we are trying to do. We are trying to bring technology close to the farmers and create a data, utilize it for their benefit, for our benefit, and create an ecosystem which is beneficial for all.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you, Superman. Thank you to all the panelists.